I'm feeling spooky. Are you feeling spooky?
I am so excited. It's like right into fall. We're like less than fucking 30 days to Halloween or something. No, we're not. We're definitely not.
It's real close.
It's real close.
Hey, everybody. It's Jordan.
And Clayton.
And we're here back at you with another episode of Cocktails
with Queens.
Woo!
Be sure to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, all that fun stuff. It is more likely than not at In Between Branches.
It is. And we're on all social media. So just look for us.
Twitter is like Between Branches or something. But
if you search In Between Branches, you'll still find us. So.
Oh, yeah.
Anyhow, we had a little hiatus, a little summer break, kind of relaxing, getting stuff together, a lot of different projects going on. But we're back now.
Working.
Yes, working. Plus, Drag Race was over, which finally let us get a break.
Mm-hmm.
But we're back now, coming at you with another episode. So, here's to that. Let's have a little cheers.
And today's cocktail is the first taste of fall. So it's a very simple one. Nothing too frou-frou here. Literally just a shot of Fireball, 2 shots of apple juice, ice. Top it with some Red's Wicked. Or just Red's if you're like not a fucking alcoholic. That's okay too. Whatever you prefer. Either way, really delicious. Just like a touch of cinnamon. It's like it really is the first taste of fall.
It is, and I'm loving these little glasses that I found today. They're so
I know,
appropriate.
So cute. I didn't realize they were glass at first. I really like them.
Yeah, they were so cheap, and that's what's so crazy to me because
really?
they were like glass like this, and it's just perfect. I'm gonna use them all month. I'm gonna use them next month. I'm gonna use them the month after that.
So. We're gonna use it at the wedding next month, or
right.
in November.
But they're super appropriate right now because the first thing we want to talk about today is American Horror Story. Obviously, we're 4 episodes in.
Mm-hmm. So we're about a third of the way through.
Mm-hmm. And we finally have like a little bit of a grasp about, how the season's looking. So I'm excited to get into it.
Yeah, this is a good episode to start the kind of recapping on or like our general thoughts on because, we've had a lot of questions the first 3 episodes, but I feel like they're finally starting to kind of like give us a little bit of breadcrumbs as far as like where things are headed, kind of how things are related. Characters in the show still aren't understanding how everything's related, except for like the different kind of sides, I guess, so to speak. But now as the viewer, we're getting a little bit more of that. So it's really exciting because you just wonder how this is all going to play out. What are some of your favorite moments from kind of this episode that have been like tied together, that have tied things together from previous episodes?
Okay. Well, just really getting into the overall theme, I'm just really all about the clowns, first off. The clowns. The clowns. I just hear them in my head.
Terrifying.
Clowns. Yes, they're perfect for this season. I think it's so relevant overall, with all the freaky stuff that happened last summer with, like, clown drama. They appeared everywhere. I honestly think that, like, half of that might have been Ryan Murphy prepping a year ahead because he is that chick.
Or for it, even, like...
Or for it.
Some sort of marketing company had to have been behind that.
At least partially.
Just knowing how our media works, like, there's no fucking way that wasn't the case.
Yeah. Like
one of them. Whoever wants to claim it, please do.
But, there's
even if we're, like, 50 years old, please, like, let us know, because I have to know.
Yeah. But, even just, like, the influence that had on this season with, like, pulling the clowns into it. Super exciting. That's super relevant, and that's only one of the ways that the show is really pulling on, relevant topics right now. Also the election and how that's gone. Really, on all sides.
Yeah,
that is very much what Ryan Murphy is serving, and I love him for it because...
It's a really good execution of it, too, because, like, he's not doing it, like, from, like, a super, like, liberal point of view, necessarily, even. Like, he's very much painting both sides to be, like, snowflakey, stupid, like, over the top, like... Just like kind of wrong, just kind of wrong in a way, and I think that's super important, especially if you're trying to appease to a general, live TV or like a general primetime TV audience. It works really well. I'm really happy he's not just like being like all pro liberal because I don't agree with a lot of that stuff either.
Yeah, and the story wouldn't work out as well as it has so far. It's been honestly. I'm loving this season. I think it's so beautiful how it's already playing out. It's scary. It's exciting. It's like, You know, it's like just like thrilling overall.
2 episodes in, it's already like fucking 100 times better than what Roanoke was. Like,
yikes. And I kind of feel like,
no offense.
Yeah, and I kind of feel like that was kind of what he was trying to do with some of that, like trying to make a real relevance with like the whole reality thing.
Mm-hmm.
But the charge of the election and the real separation in our country right now, which is such a thing, is really playing out well with this story.
Definitely.
So I'm loving what him and his writers are coming up with.
So since this is a overall recap of the first few episodes, I want to talk about the opener, because Ryan Murphy has specifically said that the opener always kind of like hints at like the overall theme and like kind of what's going, like the entire season of what's going to happen. So do you have any thoughts on that? Like, first of all, I love the music. I love like the very slowed down, like sort of like patriotic music.
It's spilling over.
Oh. There's a little bit of carbonation in this drink.
Yeah.
And it's like volcanoing over the straw.
It's over the top.
It just makes it erupt. But yeah, the slowed down patriotic music with like the general, you know, the usual fucking American Horror Story theme, that alone just like gives me goosebumps every time I hear it. Let alone the fucking like dramatic Trump and Hillary masks of just like, it's interesting because like they're always like kind of like, they're such clearly masked that it's like about putting on that identity and just like it's very much so like emphasizing that like us versus them mentality that we as a culture do need to get away from, but that is so prevalent now.
Yeah, and I mean, I have something that I'll come back to about like the overall effect of this show currently. Like, Ryan Murphy is just like...
Talk about it now.
No, I mean, I want to get to the... There's just too much. There's so much. I'm loving the intro, too. It's super spooky, too, and, like, the symbolism is so heavy.
We've got the hives with, like, the whole cult mentality.
Right.
We've got...
The mask, that, you know, like you said already. We have that they are Trump and Hillary representing, like, such a dissection of, like, you know, the country.
And even, like, the dead dogs, like, with, like, the death of, like, loyalty, like, kind of, like, has some sort of, like, notes there of something. Really good intro. I just had to take a moment to talk about that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been super spooky and really... I'm thinking lends so well to the show already. Definitely.
So let's take a little bit more of a deep dive into these like 4 episodes, but more specifically this episode 4.
Sure.
We got a lot of answers, and one thing I want to talk about is like the election night and how we saw who they were voting for privately, which was really cool.
In episode 4, you're saying.
Yeah, this episode 4, the most recent episode, we saw who they were voting for. All these characters that... Ooh, about to erupt again.
Yeah.
We saw who they were voting for, all these characters that we've kind of wondered, kind of like, what's going on? Like, who's on what? We know, like, kind of like where people stand based on who they voted.
Kind of. I mean, I think that mentality is sort of like... what's even represented, you know, throughout the election in general. You don't know where people stand based off who they voted. Because,
that's true.
I mean, we know people who voted on both sides, honestly. And I think that's really what the show is bringing it back to. You know, harping on what I was saying earlier. I kind of think this is a great show because... it's like you were saying, they're trying to appeal to both sides, you know, of the, you know, both audiences, essentially. But... I think it's kind of opening our eyes to, like, how each might be without, like, noticing it ourselves because, like, the caricatures that, you know, he's creating through this. I'm honestly hoping that a show like this could create change because you and I, who are both, like, essentially pretty liberal, have, you know, identified the truths that, you know, a lot of conservative people or people who don't identify as liberal have brought up as far as, like, you know, snowflakeness.
The very like, leftist things that have drove people to vote for Trump.
Yes,
like,
exactly.
Just like so desperate for change.
So, like, you know, we just need to identify the realities of people, which is people being the horror element of this season. I'm just loving what Ryan Murphy is doing. I think it's so on point.
That is also very interesting. This is not a very, like, paranormal season. Like,
not
there's
yet.
not yet. But there's not a lot of elements to it that are paranormal. It's all just like people being like
and I've
monsters.
Seen that. I've heard that in an interview that like that was part of it was like, you know, they're the scariest thing or whatever, like other humans, which I certainly, you know, can understand. But I mean, they're certainly the scariest real thing, you know. But things can get pretty scary.
The So one thing, like going back to what you said about the, like you commented on like the voting thing and how that like didn't necessarily like note their motive. I just mean like in terms of their character.
Sure.
I feel like, especially because they were in private voting booths, that did
at least give more insight. It's insightful.
Yeah, it's very insightful as to like kind of who they are as a character and what's going on internally with them, and like kind of. Because we didn't know that. I mean, you know, we knew, obviously, that, like, a couple of people voted for this or that, but just to see even, like, these, like, weird fringe characters, you know, who they voted for. Even Emma Roberts, who, like, died this season, like, this episode. You know, just seeing, like, her relationship to that other reporter and how they both voted. It's very interesting to see that dynamic there.
And like I said, though, that's the reality of it, is like, you know, who you vote for has been applied as a label, which it truly, you know, shouldn't be. It's pretty unfortunate, because that we need more, you know, intersectionality and like understanding in general.
We need unity through diversity.
Exactly.
Not like divide through diversity.
Right. And like I said, this season, I just can't stop, because I'm loving the direction.
Even... and what I just said was like a reference to Evan Peters' one line about like the DIV, you know, divide and diversity. Like it doesn't have to be that way. Like, you know, yes, like labels are. I don't think labels are good, obviously, but at that same time, like diversity is absolutely a good thing. You know, regardless of how. I mean, we all have an identity as a human, and regardless of how you identify, that doesn't mean that we can't see. We can't find common ground. And that is, like, a really important theme that I hope a lot of people get out of this. And, like, the destruction that comes from not working towards that. Yeah. So that said... I want to talk about... We got real deep.
The most political episode we've done.
I know, yeah, right. We super fun.
I don't even know where we stand.
Yeah, right. I want to talk about who the clowns are.
Yeah, I want to get a little more scary content here.
Because there's, like, 6 clowns.
Yeah.
Right? Give or take. There's, like, 6 clowns that we've seen so far that show up at every, perhaps, give or take, every single murder scene, you know, whenever the house has been marked. And I want to know who these fuckers are. Because we clearly know that, Kai is one.
He's involved.
Yeah, and
not that he's a clown necessarily. We don't know that either.
No, I'm pretty sure. You're right. I mean, we don't know anything.
We don't know. Yeah, we've not seen a mask revealed on anybody. So.
This is actually, we're gonna pass this on to you guys as voters or as commenters. Who the fuck do you think the clowns are? At least we probably don't have enough characters to fill all of those masks yet. But who do you think the clowns are?
You know, and one thing though that's kind of tying to that. Yeah, we don't know who they are, but now on episode 4. We've started to see how the webs of the show have kind of combined, and we're seeing alliances that we didn't know were a thing.
Like Ivy and Winter?
Like, yes, Ivy and Winter, or
Ivy Winters.
Oh my god.
That's interesting.
That was on purpose.
You think so?
They need to call her and pay her, and she needs to be one of the clowns. She is a clown.
But that is weird, though. But who knew that they had like talked and like had that whole relationship?
And so much more than that, like the reporter.
Currently,
the reporter, you and I both, you know, felt that there was something. Her character would obviously, you know, have a lot more development, but
especially like, being a star in the last season, like she wasn't just going to be an extra.
No, yeah, exactly. So I mean, we're just seeing things.
And now she's joining the cult.
Yeah, I mean, a lot has been revealed.
P.S. Spoiler alerts.
Oh yeah, I was gonna put that at the beginning because that's like so beyond that. We already hit those. But I mean, all 3 episodes before this final one have been, you know, really intense, really good, really exciting. Like, we're seeing these new characters, we're seeing so much development, we're seeing all these super scary situations. You know, clowns being crazy, clowns killing people, clowns haunting people, clowns just like making terror. Like, these clowns are terrorists, essentially. Like, it's so scary. But this 4th episode kind of moved away from the, you know, the 2 female characters and kind of was like tying like the separation together, jumping back further, and that was really, you know, it's a good point to do that, and it's just been like really coming together even since then.
It was less of an emphasis on Amy, I think is her name, the
Sarah Paulson character.
Yeah, Sarah Paulson's character. Way less on her because there's been a lot of emphasis on her because like the whole fear concept,
right? And
way more on the villains / Ivy and like how she is now connected, because we know Winter's connected to Kai.
Right,
they're like
of course.
siblings?
Siblings
Question
is
mark?
how it's appearing. Yeah, that's what
They
everybody's thinking.
they seem to live together in separate levels of the house, maybe with their parents.
I know, and I'm wondering. I mean, the parents are about to be like on disability or something, and be like so relevant
Oh
to
my
now.
god, that would be insane.
Because we're not seeing them.
Yeah,
you know,
like they were just like sitting in front of their TV and just like fucking doing nothing. That's insane.
I mean,
oh my god,
that's the vibe I'm getting. Like I said, it's so relevant to right now, and that's what's really exciting to me.
Yeah, this whole fucking season is just like, it's gonna be great. And we were actually in preparation for recording this. We were watching some other recaps, and people were just being so critical of like how everything's like going so far, and like, you know, I understand like TV and like movies and like all of that like isn't necessarily my like shtick. So like maybe I have no right to comment on this, but like people can't like be so critical of how these like very subtle things are working together when the whole story hasn't even been told yet. Like we're literally 4 episodes in, and you're like talking about how, you know, this isn't working with this. Like, to me that doesn't make sense. We have a lot to learn on this season. We have at least, you know, 6 more episodes,
and
however many.
And that's kind of the thing with American Horror Story in general, is that like they can claim whatever they want because it's overall some, you know, grandiose scheme that we can see, even if we've watched the entire season. And I love that. I think that's genius.
Yeah.
And you know, and I'm really loving how it's playing in already. I'm thinking that this season that they're going to tie a few more past season connections in. I would really love that because the people
definitely a reoccurring
people are thirsty for it, though. You know what I mean? Now, you know, we're at this point. We're so many seasons deep. People want to see more connections. Like, we enjoy it if we've been following the series early on or jumped on later on and seen them all. Like, we love the connection. Like, the Twisty thing coming back after, you know, a couple seasons, awesome. I was so on board for that.
Even if it was just a comic book thing. If that's all it is, that's fine.
It's still better than
but I hope
nothing.
that it's more than that. I hope that he
somehow
is more related to this, like Kai or something. Because I was actually commented that I think Kai is like the cult leader, but you know, what if he is actually, what if Twisty's like the cult leader and Kai's like under him just taking direction?
Well, I mean, Twisty was from the 50s. So there's that, but who knows? There's still so many ways.
Did Twisty die?
Yeah, he died.
Oh, fuck.
But I mean, still, there's so many ways they could create connections. Like, you know, you don't know, that could be his great-great-grandpappy or whatever.
Okay, that is sickening.
Anyway, I'm just saying, Ryan Murphy is a smart guy. He knows how to write a story. I mean, he's written so many successful shows already, like Nip Tuck, you know, and like Glee, this show, Popular. Like,
back in the day.
He knows what he's doing, and like, I'm just feel like he's on his game right now. Like, I can't stop gushing about it.
I feel like he learned a lot from the last season, too, in terms of what people were looking for. Like, you have to go outside of the box like that to really understand your audience.
Yeah.
I think. You know?
You're right. And, I mean, we were both, like, people that were on board no matter what, essentially. And we still had criticisms, big criticisms of last season. So, clearly he felt that and is kind of, I feel, recovering from it through this season. And I think it's going great.
How did you feel about the like sort of comedic elements of the show? Because this is very different than how it has been. Like, obviously, dramas always have comedy, but how did you feel about this American Horror Story being like kind of kitschy?
Sure.
Because we heard some commentary about like
similar to
Scream Queens and all of that. And,
right.
Like, I totally get that. I loved it.
I mean, I don't feel like that's necessarily true. There's been dark humor throughout the entire series, always. The only difference is, you know, the topics we're focusing on, because the subject matter is, like, you know, it's pretty funny that, like, we create all these divisions between us that, like, he has to make fun of it as, like, a huge part of the storyline. So, like, I think it's great what he's doing.
Favorite moment from the episode, whether it be, like, a comedic thing or something scary or, like, a connection that was made.
What I was living for, I thought was so good. I'm loving Harrison's and Kai's interactions in general, but I love...
Is Harrison the trainer?
Yep.
The one with the wife? Okay, the gay one with the wife.
Yes, I love the scene when he was sawing off his boss's head, and, you know, his wife walked in, stoned from getting the weed from the people on the street, and she was just like, who's he? And then he explained, and she's like, well, who's he?
Yeah, right.
It was hilarious. And then they went to commercial break. Like,
I know.
that was such a punchline.
Funny.
It was hilarious. And the actress, she's traditionally like comedic roles. I feel
she just like comes in with this joint, and she just like her comedic timing was just like so
that's what I mean.
good.
She's done comedy. She is perfect for that. And like a lot of her scenes have been super, comedy driven. I feel like she's always like throwing some ridiculous like joke or antic out there as far as we've seen.
It's
so
almost
far.
like a caricature.
So that was my favorite. How about you?
Mine, honestly, was I loved Emma Roberts being in this episode.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you could at least show up for one. The scene where she was at like the pet donation or like adoption thing, excuse me.
Yes.
And like she was doing the report, she was a total bitch, and then like the clown kind of comes up from behind, and then like two more show up. It's just like so scary and just like so like riveting, like you don't know what's going to happen. And then obviously she gets killed, because that for me was like a really critical point in the episode where you began to see how Kai was working in terms of like trying to get people like on his side. Maybe he was one of the ones killing them for her, or maybe he just hired these people to kill her. But killing Emma Roberts' character to get the I can't remember her name, the black reporter on his side, like it was just such a scary moment, and it was like a good like profound moment for the overall like episode.
And before we wrap up that moment, I think it was more than that too. It was kind of to create that fear on camera. That was recording the entire time she was killed. And like that's been so much his mentality is like, scaring people into this order that he wants to create. And I thought that was like the great way to do it, I mean, that would be terrifying if that footage was actually captured, by a news team.
Because he was recording.
And also, that was one of the funniest moments I felt in episode 2, this most recent one, because when the clowns came up, she really was serving like such a biatch character. And like,
what'd she say?
Oh my gosh, it was like, well, here's some clowns, desperate for camera time.
And then
when they walked up,
sliced.
And then they flashed her, and it was like, it was funny. It was just so dark comedy, I'm loving that. So I think it's a good way
we've recapped a lot of like what has happened, / just an episode by itself. What do you feel like is to come for this season? Like, what do you think is happening next?
I do feel more paranormal elements come in, I think, or I hope.
It's like almost like a third side?
Yeah, absolutely. Because there's always, I feel, in American Horror Story, it's not like one villain, it's like sections, and there's like...
It's never one villain.
Yeah, it's like the country. There's, there's different people creating different points of like terror, essentially. So I think there'll be more of that. I think that we're going to get so much more character development. We're going to find out what people are doing, what they're doing, whether it be like Kai or anyone, because it's like, why...
We don't know why Kai's doing that.
Why is Kai being a weirdo? I mean, he's trying to create a cult. He wants these people following him. He's playing mind games on them. Why? Yeah. Who are his parents? What have they done? What's the difference between him and Winter, if they are siblings?
And they are different. She was voting Hillary.
Yeah, she was normal. I mean, she was sweet at first, but then like we got like him putting her in that place. So I think there'll just be more development of characters. I hope more terrifying clown scenes, because clowns are so relevant.
I'm excited for more like scares too.
Yeah,
I mean that's part of American Horror Story.
Absolutely.
Even though all the other stuff is great, we still want a little bit of that too.
What about you? What are you thinking?
For me, I am really excited for like how the reporter and Kai's relationship are going to kind of like spread this whole cult mentality, because now she has like a primetime TV. We kind of saw
access. That in the teaser for next episodes.
She has access to this, and in the teaser he was even talking about running for city council, or student council, talking about running for city council, and they're going to recruit more people from that, and just like subtly or not, like, you know what I mean, like just trying to build this cult.
Cults don't usually stop at 5 people.
No, certainly not. Speaking of cult, we've got a cult classic in the making. Season 2 airing on this Halloween. What channel? What network?
Well, it's going to be on Out TV, which is available, in Canada, Australia, and a few other different countries, but not here right now. But it's going to be available to us.
WoW Presents for USA, right?
Yep, on YouTube. Perfect. And everybody on you.
Wow. So, what are your thoughts on the teaser? We just have a few minutes left. I want to close with this amazing series like a kind of a direct reflection of RuPaul's Drag Race, like a not like
birthing of.
Yeah, a birthing of like as people. A good series. Season 1 was great. What are your thoughts on the season 2 teaser and cast reveal?
Yeah, I mean, I think Dragula this season is going to be awesome because, you know, they started so grassroots essentially this past season, and, you know, they built something huge from it. Like, Vander Van Odd, the star of that, has reached such huge success.
Yeah,
and
way more than I anticipated.
And a lot of the girls have gotten so much success from it. So it's like, it's a thing. Like, and it's kind of just like that, you know, that thing where one experience opens up doors for others. So that's what Drag Race was to this, you know, and that's what RuPaul was to Drag Race in general, and this could be that to something else. But anyways,
from marketing standpoint, just like my background, I understand like the whole niche thing is so powerful. So like these people being a part of something so niche is like you're gonna have such quality fans from this, like
right.
Not to mention stardom in general, but like the quality of fans that you're getting from this.
Yeah, especially when drag is getting bigger and bigger, you know.
So the teaser, cast reveal, who were your favorite queens? Do you have like anything that like you wanted to talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, I was super excited in general to get the cast reveal.
Me too.
There were a few girls I had been considering on it and wondered if that were the truth. I mean, one was Abora, and she was one of the girls revealed. I found her on Instagram.
Which one was her?
She was the one, she had the point nose, she had the balloon suit.
Oh my god, so sick.
And that suit was like why I found her, because she was at like DragCon, and she had on stilts. It was insane.
That was like the peak of the
yeah, they used that well. Yeah. I mean, they used it like that.
Yeah, that was like...
So she's exciting, she's really intelligent with what she creates, and I'm super excited about her.
She was one of mine too.
I think she'd be the top already, because like I said, I followed her for a while, and then I love her. And then one of the other ones I knew too, which, I mean, I might be butchering these names because I only know them from social media. But the other one was Moniki Shame, the girl who wears, like, the what's the word?
The pantyhose?
Yeah, the stockings over her face with, like, the cutouts in the mouth. And it's, like, super horror.
She's my
super scary.
Favorite.
She's so exciting to me. Like, we've not seen something like that. So, like, those two are two that I knew prior to the show, who I've already followed before knowing they would be on the show, and I'm really excited about them being there.
When we just watched it in passing, she was like the one that I was like watching. I just loved the way her makeup was.
Yeah. I mean, I'm super excited about it. It premieres on Halloween night, so I'll definitely be tuning in.
Me too. Thanks so much for watching, guys. This episode was brought to you by In Between Branches on Etsy. Be sure to check out our shop.
Thanks.